afternoon, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. Hope you're doing well. It's been a couple days. Have been busy, but it's mostly been administrative work. I had a million phone calls I needed to make and a lot of emails to answer and newsletters to write and new products to put in the website and stuff. So none of that is film worthy. But I am back out at the farm today. I've been out here for a couple of hours. My friend Kate came and helped me retransplant all the Bupleurum and at least half the calendula. So when I arrived this morning, I wanted to check on all the seedlings, and I'd brought those trays, the remaining ones, out because I wanted to give them to Kate. And when I got out here, I noticed every single Bupleurum plug was gone, and roughly half of the campanula, spotty throughout the bed. So I think, and definitely no gophers, because there was no evidence of gophers in the bed. I think it was birds, because in most cases the entire plug was taken out, like you could see the hole left. But I did find in the campanula bed a lot of slugs in that far end that has more moisture. So our approach is twofold. So she transplanted the Bupleurum back, and I filled in the holes with the campanula, and then I need to pick up Sluggo from my house. I don't have any out here, but I'm going to put Sluggo on those holes because if I know it's partially slugs, but I think the rest of it really was birds because they're torn leaves just like birds do. So I covered that bed with floating row cover for bird protection at this point. And I'm going to do the same thing to this bed because if I come out here tomorrow, all these will be gone again. So also, the irrigation is off currently because we've been getting rain, but this bed is a little bit dry. So what I'm going to do right now is, because these are freshly transplanted plugs, I'm going to fill up my watering can and just water this Bupleurum section. And then we're going to cover this bed with floating row cover, hoop and row cover, just like this, only it'll be not insect netting because I don't have any of that. I just have row cover. Then we are going to dig out the sweet pea bed, line it with hardwood cloth, and refill it and transplant sweet peas because I have those out here today. Because that's not going to take very long. It's a very narrow bed and it's short. So that'll be pretty quick, and that soil is super soft. But then I'll be able to get that done, and I'll know that that bed is protected because I think what I would like to do as well this year is the sweet peas will be in there and they'll give me pretty flowers and all that. But I think I'd also like to put a bunch of tomato plants in there this year as well, because I'm going to be growing vegetables out here as well for the food kitchen. And so that trellis will be great because I can just kind of rope them individually to it as they grow, and it'll be a nice support for them. I've grown tomatoes on a flat trellis like that before, and they did amazing. So with a protected bed, I'll have pretty good luck. Now, they could still get completely decimated by rats, but I'm going to give it a try. Okay, I'm going to go get the watering can filled, water this bed real quick, and then we'll get the hoop and row cover up, and then move on to our next project. One thing I can say for gophers is that they make very nice soft soil. So there's some daffodils in here. I'm not at all worried about that. They were extra daffodils that I just popped in here. It's not any kind of big loss. This soil is pretty soft, and as you can see, it's nice and black. This should be pretty easy digging, and it's short. It's like maybe 15 feet, so not a 40-foot bed, and it'll be a nice deep cage because it's not going to be that wide. Tons of rodent holes though. They are not going to be happy to not be able to get back in here. Speaking of soil, I don't think I'm that happy with this new mix that I got this year. Normally I get 100% compost and top it off on the beds, but because I knew we were going to be doing all this excavation and refilling beds, I was worried that having 100% compost was going to be too rich for the plants, because it was going to be more than like an inch or two. It was going to be, 5 inches maybe. So I got a mix. It's kind of like garden soil / topsoil, 50-50 and compost. It's, I was just weeding in the bed before I covered it. It's feeling like concrete, hard as a rock. I mean, the plants are alive, but I don't know how good their root systems are going to be, or if they're going to suffer this year. So I think next year we're going back to just 100% compost, because the soil so far I'm not really impressed with. All right, I'm going to stop talking and get to digging so I can get this done. Okay, not my prettiest job, but I don't care. So, dug a pretty deep trench, put in the hardware cloth basket, and obviously filled it back in. Sweet peas I knew would not take the entire bed, and that's good because I have other things I would like to put in here, but this gives me space to put other stuff. And the soil is deep. It's about 7 inches deep, so that's a nice deep amount of soil for the plants to start off in, and then they can go into the native soil. And the reason these sides are so high is that this is a pretty important walkway in terms of getting like wheelbarrows and stuff, and I wanted it to be very visible where this cage was. Also, this really is more gopher proof than even the other ones just because it's so high. Rats can easily just run right over the top, but even then, even though there's lots of evidence of rats out here, they have not, that I noticed, gotten into the beds to eat plants. So that's a good thing. I also mostly weeded this bed. It had some like big clumps of grass as well as poison hemlock in it. Pulled those out, put the irrigation back down. This will be the dahlia bed in a few months. But in the meantime, I actually do want the irrigation to run. It's really interesting because this part of the bed has a little bit of shade during the day. For a short time, the soil is wetter down here. So there's a little bit more coverage of irrigation up here where it has more sun and thus less, the soil stays less wet. It's drier soil. Okay, I would love to keep working. Everywhere I look, there's a project, but I've been out here for about 6 hours. I'm tired and I need to go home and eat. So that's gonna be it for me today, you guys. Thank you for hanging out. I will be coming back at some point tomorrow to put Sluggo down in the holes where the campanula is, and also to check on this floating row cover because one of the things about spring for us is high winds, and even though this is weighted down with bricks everywhere and I keep trying to tug it tight, the wind gets under there, and you see that, how it's rippling? That eventually works itself loose of the bricks, and then it flies off and it ends up either on this bed or up against the fence, which I don't want. So I do need to check on these daily and come back through and tighten up the bricks. You know, pull it tight and put the bricks down. It's just a routine thing. It's annoying, but that's how it has to be. I've already tightened this 3 times today, and the wind has already made it loose. So I will be tightening it down again before I leave in a minute. But I hope that when I come back tomorrow, there will be still campanula in all these holes because I'm hoping that it was mostly birds. So that's what the damage looked like. But the fact that I saw slugs made me second guess that it was only birds. So we shall see. And the same thing with this tunnel over here. I will come back and make sure the bupleurum is all still there. Because if it's birds, then they definitely can't get in here. They won't even really try. Okay, tomorrow is another bee day. So I discovered after doing a lot of research that the strips that I used to treat for varroa mites, they're called Apistan strips. Because I'm a newbie, I made a big mistake. Back in the fall, when I put the strips in the deep boxes where the broods are, I did not know, and either it was in fine print because I felt like I really read the instructions, but anyway, it's still user error. I did not know you have to take off the honey supers for the 2 weeks that you are treating with those strips. It's a little bit harder to do that in the fall because then our weather turns bad and it's hard to find a good day to go back in and get the strips. It's easier to manage in the spring if you treat in the spring because then you have a better chance of getting a good weather window where at least it's warm enough to open up the hive to get those strips out. Anyway, so I have 28 frames of honey that I need to get rid of, that nobody can eat. It's safe for the bees to eat, but not for human consumption or anybody else. So I'm gonna scrape all of that honey off into bags, and you can put it in the regular like garbage disposal, but it's a shame to waste the honey, but nope, it's not safe to eat. So I need to do that tomorrow because tomorrow will be almost 70 degrees. Most of the bees will be away from home. That's when you want to go into a beehive. And I just need to take all the frames of honey out and make sure all the strips of Apistan are gone. I think I still have some in the bottom boxes that I have to get out. And then I can put new frames back in there, and the new honey that they make will be totally fine to eat. And there's plenty of time for that. For us, the honey harvest here is usually May into June. So there's plenty of time for the bees to put on new honey. And I won't harvest all of it at that time. I will leave some for them for during the year, and just in case it's a rough year, I want to make sure they have enough honey to get through the winter as well. So it's not like I clear them out completely, and it's a lot of honey, so just in 2 hives. So tomorrow will be another hive dive day. It's going to be kind of crucial what I do because I have to make sure the boxes are so heavy right now because they're so full of honey and brood. It's hard for me to manage, but I'm going to do my best. Anyway, I have to make sure that they don't need extra room. I might switch boxes. I don't know. There's going to be some finagling, so I'm not sure how much of that I can actually film. Where I have my bees is on a slope, and it's really hard to just manage the boxes. There's not really any place to put a camera, so we'll see. I may just update you on what happened. And then if we still have time, I will be starting to move some of the compost and wood chips into the front garden. I'm bringing home the wheelbarrow and the shovels tonight and get some of that work done. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden. Maybe you are starting to see signs of spring or signs of fall if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And yeah, I hope you enjoy yourself in your garden. I will see you in the next one. Bye.